Thank you so much for coming. We try and do this every year, and we call it the Salon Sustainability Summit. And this year we're doing it with our friends at Salon IQ. So our theme this year is change. And as we know, change can be exciting, it can be uncomfortable, it can be challenging, but it's often going to be where impact happens. So hopefully today with our guests, we'll get some inspiration on some things that we can potentially change in our lives and our habits. We've got three fantastic guests. We've got Kerry from Positively Green, who's going to share with us her 5 environmental actions that have the biggest impact. We've got Max La Manna, who is a low waste chef, among other things, and he's potentially going to challenge the way that we look at what we eat and the food that we throw away. And then we've got Veck, who might be more familiar with you in the Hang on, I just unmuted myself. Was I on mute for a while there, Jess? Okay, everyone can still hear me? Okay, good. Yeah, so I hope today's conversations can inspire you and give you some fresh ideas. So, Jess, if you're able to share the slides, that would be good.
Which one would you like? This is the next one.
Yeah, I can't see any of the slides at the moment.
Can everyone else see the slides? No?
No, it says that we're actually viewing Sylvia Denison's screen record. What are you up to, Sylvia?
I don't know. Am I doing something I shouldn't?
We're recording it.
Okay.
So you don't need to.
Okay then. I'll cross that off now.
Maybe you've clicked on something and it's overriding Jess's
Okay.
screen.
How about now? Is that working?
I've clocked it off now, so that should do.
Perfect. Can
There we
everyone
go.
see?
Nice.
No, that's working.
We've got the lovely green Salon Collective logo. Yeah, so fantastic. So we're joined as well by Salon IQ, and we've got Sam Kendall here, I believe. So Sam is the CEO of Salon IQ. She's one of the she's the manager, the CEO of Salon IQ. She's passionate about helping salon owners grow sustainably. Sam works closely with salon owners to simplify operations, improve profitability, and embrace innovations that support the future of the hair and beauty industry. So hi, Sam, give us a quick wave.
Good morning, everyone. Lovely to be here. Thanks, Fry.
No problem. Thanks for having us. If you didn't know about Salon IQ, perhaps you've been living under a cave somewhere. Salon IQ is an all-in-one salon management platform used by thousands of salons across the UK. The software helps businesses manage appointments, client communications, payments, reporting, membership, growth strategies, while supporting industry initiatives like Green Salon Collective. So the thing that we, I guess, get the most benefit out at Green Salon Collective and the people that use it is the green fee functionality. So as you know, that we recommend salons charge an optional £1 green fee on the services, and this is done super easy with Salon IQ. As I understand it, Sam, once it's been set up in the system, it will automatically appear on every invoice. Is that right?
That's right, yeah. So whenever you've got a client booked in and you've got the green fee set up, it will automatically show on the client's bill. So when you're taking them to checkout, that fee is automatically there. You haven't got to wait for any of your team to manually add that onto the bill.
Okay, fantastic. And then the client, if the stylist for whatever reason does want to remove it, they can. Is that
absolutely
correct?
Yeah, absolutely, they can remove it if they want to, yeah, but I think it's better to automatically add it on and then manually remember off than the other way around.
Yeah, okay, cool. And then that will also be, you can separate that from stylist commission as well, is that?
Absolutely, yeah, that was one of the first things we actually did. So once we'd actually built the integration, we then ensured that that green fee value was not included in the team members' figures. So you weren't paying commission on that, which is hugely important.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it seems to be pretty straightforward. But I just
Very, very straightforward. Yeah, simple setup with Cara's team, who's on this webinar as well, and it takes minutes, if that, to get it set. Once it's done, it's there. You can have a report on it. You can see how many clients are having that green fee on. Manually remove it if you want to, but yeah, it keeps those costs covered.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. All right. That's good to know. All right. So I'll introduce you to some of the Green Salon collective team, and we've got some of them here, and I think we've got a pretty picture of the bunch, Jess, as well. And Stephanie seems to be listening in the background. If you're able to say a few words in a minute, Stephanie, while we're waiting for Max to join, that would be really cool. But yeah, we got Paul and myself. We started up Green Salon Collective back in 2020, so something like that. So we try and keep Paul hidden away, but he's getting more and more involved, talking to Salon. So many of you might have met him by now. And oh, hang on, Jess, just go back a bit.
Can you see the screen? Can
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
see the screen? Can you thumbs up? I think I'm having messages from some people saying they can't see it, so I just want to make sure everybody's got it.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're all looking at the picture of you, Jess, in the bottom right-hand
okay,
corner.
perfect. Sorry, Steph, I think it's just you who can't see it.
Jess, do you just want to say hello and who you are while we're all
Hello.
here?
So there's a lot of familiar faces, so I think I know most of you. But I'm Jess. I've been with Green Salon Collective for I think over 4 years now. So it's been quite a while. And I manage the marketing side of things and kind of the day-to-day customer stuff as well. So I've spoken to a lot of you, and hopefully we'll keep speaking to a lot of you. And if you haven't set up your membership, please do get in touch.
Cool, thank you, Jess. Stephanie, are you able to say hello? She's looking like she might unmute.
I'm Steph. I can't see your presentation. It's very strange. I can see myself in duplicate, everybody in duplicate, but that's fine. I also know many of your faces and names, but I'm the head nerd, and this is the face behind a lot of the research at Green Salon Collective. I don't know if you want me to be any more specific than that, but it's great to see you all.
No, that's good. It's just good for people to know who we all are. We've got Anne as well there in the top right. So Anne's responsible for all the design work. Anything you see with the social media side of things, or on the website, it's probably been designed by Anne or by Jess. And then you've got Ellie down there as well. I'm not sure if Ellie's on the call. I think she might be taking calls and things at the moment. So Ellie is someone that you'll often see on customer service or talk to there. So she's often available. So that's the core team that we have. And then we also have obviously got our waste partners and our logistics team, which are just slightly outside of this. Then we have some of our green libertines that are on the call. And then we've got our members as well. So we'll move on to meet Max. Hi, Max. How are you doing? Good morning.
I'm doing well, Fry. How are you?
Yeah, good. Let me give you a little introduction here, Max. So if you didn't know Max La Manna, he's an award-winning author, low waste chef, and campaigner. And he's a proper campaigner. He actually went on like a hunger strike, I think, for almost 2 weeks. Which was really, really impressive. But we won't get into that one too much today. We're going to stick with the food. He's inspired millions around the world to cook plant-based food with less waste and more confident. And his 2 plant-based cookbooks, More Plants, Less Waste, and You Can Cook This, are definitely staples with Jess and I and Ellie and other team members. So thanks so much for being here with us, Max.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the introduction. That's very kind of you.
So what does a low waste chef mean for you, Max? What does that actually mean?
I got to be very careful how I say that because some people in the States think of it as their waistline, and here in the UK they're thinking that they actually think about the waist. So yeah, to me, I started cooking low waste. Well, I actually started cooking zero waste. So I was going to the bulk stores. I was collecting my ingredients without packaging. And then I was composting any kind of scraps that I had left over. And I quickly realized that there's no such thing as zero waste because it all has to go somewhere. So I quickly pivoted and changed the language around low waste because I think we can all strive to be less wasteful.
Mm.
And to me, being a low waste chef is more achievable than aiming for zero, because there's no such thing as well, I think nature is perfect, but there's no such thing perfection in what we could strive for perfection, but I don't think there's actual perfection in our
Yeah.
actions. We could strive for it, but we can never really get there because yeah. So for me, it's basically kind of looking at what I have in my fridge at times, how I shop, how I can be more resourceful in the kitchen. How can I take what I have and no pun intended, but how can I use it to the max, and make sure that nothing goes to waste.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Because some of the things that was quite interesting when I first come across you was that you was eating things that we would normally throw away. Can you give us a few things there that yeah, that
Yeah.
most people throw away but don't realize they're edible?
Yeah, I think I think I know where you're going with this one. So one of the big one of the big ones, and I'm constantly stopped on the streets or on a tube or even at the airport if I'm at the airport, where people will say, "You're the guy who eats the banana peels." So yes, banana peels are edible. Um, Countries in Southeast Asia use banana peels in their cooking. Um, we just need to make sure that they're washed and clean, and if they're organic, great. That's a good plus. Just yeah, bananas themselves are a heavily sprayed crop, so
Mm.
you just want to do your best and not try to ingest more pesticides.
Yeah.
Things like banana peels.
Max, with the banana peel though, because I've seen you just eat it, but that's not the most
No, no, no,
that's
no.
not necessarily the most appealing way. Pun not intended.
No, Fry. You want to fry it, Fry.
Yeah.
There's my opportunity. You want to fry it. You want to cook it. So yeah, basically I take out the inside of the peel, the kind of pulp. That pulp can be used to make a fertilizer. So you could steep it in water 24 hours overnight, hot water, and then put it into a water bottle, and you could spray it onto your plants, and that provides minerals and nutrients and potassium to your plants. And yeah, you can do that also inside your house plants, or you can even do that outside to the plants that you have growing outdoors if you have anything.
Mm.
But yeah, you want to fry the banana peel. I quickly marinate it. It's in my cookbook. You can cook this. You marinate it. You could do it overnight, but I tend to do it within like 20 minutes, quick marinade, and then you just fry it over some oil or butter in a
Mm.
pan, let it sizzle, and then bake it for a few more minutes. And then you have this like crispy um, banana peel. I'm still trying to work on how to make it sound more appetizing. There's other things like aquafaba that people are throwing away, and that's like the liquid from a can of chickpeas, or liquid from any type of bean or legume in a can. That
Yeah.
liquid can be turned and emulsified. It could turn into meringues. It could turn white and fluffy if you add sugar and you whip it with some muscle strength.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can make meringues from it. I've mixed it with like my granola instead of using oil.
Okay.
To like in your to make granola at home, I've mixed it with the oats and the nuts and the seeds, and I've baked it, and it's turned nice golden brown and crispy. So you have this delicious um, granola using that aquafaba.
Mm.
I just want to be really kind of I want to be honest. It's not all the time that I cook this way. These are, if I have the time, if I have the capacity of doing this, it's the convenience. I think we talked about convenience, Fry, on our call last week.
Yeah.
And it's giving people, I think, it's giving people information for them to take and then apply it in their everyday life. So it might not work every single time. You might eat, chickpeas every single day. You're definitely not going to be wanting to make meringues or granola every single day to use up that leftover waste. You can also make pasta using aquafaba as well instead of using eggs, by the way.
That's a good point, because my children said the same thing to me. They were like, "How many banana skin bacon sandwiches are you going to have, Dad?" It's like, you're having them every day. I'm like, "Well, I'm eating bananas every day," and they're like, "Just give it a break."
Yeah,
Have a day off.
They're great for the compost too. So this is kind of completing that full cycle. So whatever I don't end up eating, it will end up going either to my compost heap outside, or it will go to my council. So
Yeah.
one is for me, one is better than the other because one is going back to soil. The other one, I think here in the UK, our food waste is being used mainly for biogas.
Right.
So lighting up streets with biogas, I guess, and electricity. In some way, that's using more energy, where this is being naturally broken down by critters and bugs and worms in your outdoor garden.
Yeah. Because there's other things that I've noticed as well that I've been a bit more mindful of with simple things like carrots, because I would have, until the book, I wouldn't have even bought the carrots with the stems still on them. But you, like in your book, you make a pesto and other
Yeah.
things, and even like the tops of strawberries. I've seen you eating. Is that right? I've seen you eating those
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, you
Is
can
that
eat you can eat the tops of, you don't want to eat the tops of everything. Like rhubarb, you don't want to eat the tops of rhubarb. But yeah, the carrot tops, the carrot tops to me it's like a herbaceous, well it's herbaceous. But I use it as a herb and like mixing in my salads. If I'm making tabbouleh, I'll mix it in with the parsley, chop it up really finely. Um, you can make it into a pesto. There's so much you could do with that. So I'm constantly, if I'm in the kitchen cooking and there's an element that isn't going into a dish, or just right before I start cooking, I look at the whole ingredient and it's quick. It takes a matter of seconds. Can I use all of this? So like the tops of courgettes, the bottom of courgettes, the little stems, and that's where the flour used to be. At the bottom bit of the courgette, and then the top of the courgette, that could be all grated. And that could be used if you wanted to make like fritters, or if you want to throw it into a salad, if you want to make, if you're going to do, what do you call it here? In the States, we call it zoodles because they call it zucchini, and you make noodles out of courgette. So I don't know what you call it
Oh
here.
yeah, I don't know what we'd call that actually.
Yeah.
Stick of zoodles.
Yeah. So yeah, you can use the whole thing. So it's kind of quickly, I'm looking at everything I have and going, how can I use this? I tend not to peel my ingredients. There's more nutrients on the surface of ingredients, as you probably already know.
Right.
And now that I work at a farm, I'm pulling carrots out of the ground. I knock off a little bit of the dirt, rinse it a little bit, and there's still dirt on there, and that's okay because that's good bacteria that you want to ingest as well.
Yeah. Has working on the farm had any impact on how you cook things, or the way you go about it, or is it already pretty in sync with who you are anyway?
It's it's changed how I've shopped for sure.
Mm.
I always, I'll be honest, I always found going to a farmer's market quite intimidating, quite intense,
Mm.
because I've just been um, taught to, go to the supermarket and you buy a bag of this and a bag of that, and and so everything's sort of, oh, I need this for the week, I need this. It's already weighed out for me. I don't need to think about, oh, I know that this bag might have or a sleeve of onions, 3 onions. I know that I'll get through 3 onions this week. And
Mm.
if, when I go to a farmer's market, I find it quite intense. The farmer is right there in front of you, like, how can I help you? And you're like, I love that there's that human connection, and we can have that instead of going to a kiosk desk and quickly, checking out, and not
Yeah.
having that relationship. But I always found it quite intimidating because I don't know. I'm like, oh, do I need more? I don't know if I need more than what my recipe is asking for. So
Mm.
I think since working on a farm, and not everyone needs to work on a farm to realize this, but since working on a farm, I've realized like I can take my time going to the farmer's market. I
Yeah.
can ask questions. I could look at the ingredient. I could plan out my meals in advance and think, okay, I need two bunches of carrots, or I need 5 onions this week, So it's taking my time at the farmer's market. But I've realized that from working in the farm, because everyone like takes their time. And so
Yeah.
yeah, there's less pressure.
Yeah, that's nice. And you're doing like a tour of the farm, is that right? What actually happens there? Do you teach them how to grow food, or are you showing them around, or?
I feel like this is I'm having you're my therapist and I'm telling you everything. I'm going to tell you honestly, I don't know how to grow food. I'm learning how to grow food. So it's really interesting to be at the other end of the spectrum of the food industry.
Mm.
Having, being a chef, working in restaurants and kitchens and understanding how to, when you receive the product and how you complete the final dish, I guess. Um, so I'm learning, and we have children that come to the farm. There's a local college that comes in 4 days a week, about ten kids per group. So about 40 kids a week come to the farm, and I'm learning with them. I know a little bit more than, these 16-year-old, 17-year-old boys and girls that come to the farm, but we're teaching them. And some of these kids have never seen, ingredients grown before. So I
Mm.
asked them, I'll tell you a quick story. We're standing in a kale field. This is the beginning of the year. And I said, does anyone know what kale? I just wanted to see. It says, does anyone know what kale looks like? And no one raised their hand. I said, okay, look to your left. And they look to their left and like, yeah. And I'm like, that's kale. And they're like, oh, they've never had kale before. They've never seen it. They didn't know how it's grown, and it grows in these massive long stalks. So for the next 3 months, that's all they learned about was kale and how to harvest kale, how to eat it. And I was teaching them recipes, what they could do at home. And one of the first recipes I made them was they never had it before too. So I was thinking, what do 16-year-old boys and girls want to eat at at this age? So I made a mac and cheese, but I used kale and basil, basil and kale, and I made a kale pesto, and I tossed it in with the macaroni, and these kids
Nice.
they loved it. So they're like almost like a mac and cheese. There was some cheese in it,
Yeah.
some vegan cheese, and then also the pesto. So they were like, "This is incredible."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Max, when I first started eating plant-based food, I did just go to like the equivalents of the burgers and sausages and things. It wasn't until years later, following your types of recipes, I was able to avoid those foods. But I still can't resist them. I still
Mm.
still have them. What's your opinion on them? Do you think they're a good sort of gateway food to get people eating plant-based and making their own? Or yeah, what's your take on it?
Yeah. Um, I think again, it's looking at the convenience of it all too, right? It's convenient to purchase a plant-based option, and of course, I don't speak on this on my profile, in my work, in my business. I don't ever speak about the animal rights side to it as well. So
Mm.
yeah, it can be, less wasteful to go in a more plant-based option, plant-based route. Uh, for me, I think it is, like you said, Fry, I think it is an option for people to kind of introduce them to an option that is not, an animal-based product. I've done this before. I was doing this when I went back home to the States and visited my family, and I was frying, Beyond Meat burgers, and
Mm.
my dad had no idea what was going on. I think he
Mm.
maybe had a clue. He's like, I don't think you'd be frying, beef. Um, but yeah, I think it is an opportunity, and that's what he chooses now. So that was 6 or 7 years ago, and so now he doesn't. He thinks they're delicious, and he's like, if I can minimize my impact, I'm gonna choose this option.
Right.
and for myself, I tend to stay away from it. I like cooking if I can make something fresh from scratch. Again, at this time, I am still child free, with a baby on the way, so I do have more time on my hands, I guess, but less
Yeah.
of that is happening. So yeah, I enjoy the process of cooking things from scratch. So
Yeah.
one of my favorite plant-based burgers is a burger from Mildred's. You probably know in London. Mildred's has this beetroot tempeh burger, and it's super simple and easy to put together. Grated up beetroot, grated up
Mm.
tempeh, cornstarch, and some spices, and you fold it into a patty and you fry it in a pan, and it's delicious.
Yeah. That's awesome. Max, just one last question before you go, and this might be a dead-end question, but well, I'll throw it out there anyway. Obviously, we're all about sustainability, but we are in the hair and beauty industry. Is there any food products that you've ever used in hair and beauty? Any hair products or face scrubs or anything like
Ooh,
that
ooh, ooh,
from waste?
from waste, yes. I haven't used, have I used anything in my hair? I haven't, even though when was it last year or a year or two ago with rosemary, everyone talking about rosemary, right? Rosemary in
Right.
hair.
Okay. Was that?
I didn't do that. You can't watch, you can't believe everything you watch on. I don't think I was just, yeah. But in terms of food waste, I have used leftover coffee grounds from making a coffee, and I've made that. And I think it's in More Plants, Less Waste, actually, where I use the coffee grounds to make like a body scrub. And I've used that on my face before as well.
Nice.
You got to be careful. You don't leave it too long. Especially with this complexion and skin tone. So yeah, yeah, I like using, if I can find a way of using food that is not going to be edible but can be consumed in other ways, whether
Yeah.
it's out in the compost and the consumed by the soil or consumed through the skin. I always try to do that.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, thanks so much, Max, for coming along and sharing some of your ideas and what we do. And I think most people would know you anyway, but if they don't, you can scan that little QR code and yeah,
Amazing.
follow along his journey on the farm and activism and everything he does. So thanks, Max. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank
All the
you.
best. Bye bye.
Thanks, Max. All right, Jess, have we got a slide on? Oh, we're going to Kerry.
Good
Hi.
morning.
How you doing?
Yes, very well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Let me just read out your little bio here. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
I won't. I'll say it properly this time as well. So Kerry is a digital creator promoting a greener lifestyle and sharing lots of tips and ideas. Kerry's content on Positively Green aims to be accessible and educational to inspire positive change, and it certainly does. And you're talking about 5 actions that have the biggest impact. Is that right, Kerry?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things I could have spoken about today. So a bit of background on my sort of career and how I ended up here is that I started off in broadcast. So I'm a journalist, producer, presenter, and then I transitioned into creating stories about the environment and trying to inspire positive change. This happened about 4 years ago. I was looking for, like we all do, a bit of purpose in life. And I think 2020, when we all had that time to reflect, I was like, what do I want to do? And there was something, even though I had this fantastic career in TV, there was just something that just wasn't fulfilling enough for me. And when we had that time to reflect, I saw the impact that the lack of human activity had on the planet when it had a chance to recover, when there wasn't that much human activity happening in 2020 when we were all in lockdown. And I found that fascinating. And I thought, you know what, there's not a bigger call really than trying to protect the environment, because nothing exists if we haven't got somewhere to live, right? So then I decided to use all my skills as a journalist and producer and start creating environmental content to hopefully inspire positive change. So that's where I'm here now. I've actually made a little spreadsheet. I threw it together this morning. Can I
Okay.
share my screen, Fry? Is that possible?
Yeah, I think Jess will just need to make you a host.
Okay.
She'll do that. 1 second. The pressure is on Jess now, as we all look at.
I might be able to do it.
Okay, you should be able to do it now, hopefully.
Yes. Can we see this?
There we go. Perfect.
Awesome.
Look at that picture.
So yeah, I thought, what would be the most beneficial thing for this talk? Obviously, you guys, a lot of you, are all the people who are on here already part of the Green Salon Collective in their own
Yeah,
salons?
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you guys are already doing stuff. You've already got an idea. You've obviously got those values in place already. You want to have an impact on the environment in a positive way. So kudos already. But these are maybe some tips that you could do in your own personal lives, or you could share with family and friends that could have an impact that you may not already know about. I'm just going to check that this definitely moves. Yeah, it does. Cool. So I thought I'd include some honorable mentions that are not going to be as part of the 5 that some of you would already know about, but if you don't, I'll just give them a shout out. There's some obvious ones in here. Obviously, travel responsibly. We all know about the impact of flights and driving, and if we can drive less and cycle more, walk more, carpool, all that has a massive impact. And you might think, and I get these comments on social media all the time about, oh, it makes no difference because there's the richest 1% are having the biggest impact. And while that is true, a lot of these big companies and individuals and businesses, they profit for a reason, right? And the reason they profit in most cases is because they're relying on consumers, which is us. So if we, for example, decide to stop investing and stop purchasing from one single brand, they'll have to change tactics and think of another way to sell. So if you're at any point thinking I'm insignificant, I'm not going to be able to make a difference, when collectively we make lots of changes, it can have a big impact. So if we're all doing something, in our weeks, in our days, to travel a little bit more sustainably, then it is going to have an impact in the long term. So yeah, invest in renewable energy. If we're in a position to be able to, get a heat pump installed, solar panels, there are government incentives. The thumbnail on here is about a government grant in the UK that they've extended. The original deadline for that was 2023. I think it's now up on 2027. I'll have to double check that. But you can get a £7,500 grant to be able to install a heat pump into your home, up to 7.5, depending on your situation. So things like that, using an EV rather than a petrol or diesel car makes a big difference. In fact, I was at a film premiere last week, and it's called the People's Emergency Briefing. Some of you may have already seen it. It's touring around the UK at the moment. It was produced by, I think, Channel 4. Chris Packham and other celebrities came together, and they're trying to encourage the government to announce like a public emergency briefing, like what they did in lockdown, to really emphasize the situation that we're in with the climate at the moment. And it's a bunch of loads of scientists talking about various different aspects, whether that's food, traveling, the economy. It's really, really well put together. And there was a really interesting fact on there that said that when you put in petrol, diesel into your car, you're only actually getting between 25 to 30% of that fuel is going to moving the car. The rest of it is lost on heat and energy. So I was blown away by that. 25%. You're only getting 25% of that petrol that you're putting in, and that's from moving it. Whereas EVs, you've got like 90% efficiency. So that just compares it. And EVs in the long run are cheaper to run. We've got an EV and it costs us about £2 to £5 to charge on a night, which is just like, but there is an accessibility thing I get. And I say this all the time, that sustainability and accessibility, they're always butting heads. If you've got bigger things going on in your world, we've got a food poverty issue in this country and a lot of other countries. If you're struggling to feed your kids, why should you care about recycling? I get it. So if you can do it, and sometimes it's a privilege to be more green, and I'm very, very aware of that. But think about what you can do in your own situation to have that positive impact. So yeah, quick honorable mentions: travel responsibly, invest in renewable energies when you can. Water butts are great. It's going to be hot this week in the UK, and I always feel really smug when I'm watering my plants, knowing that I've saved loads of water over the last few weeks ready to use on my plants. So something as simple as getting a water butt. You don't have to invest in buying one. You can just make your own. I have these buckets. Go on, Fry.
Sorry, what's a water butt?
A water butt, so like a container that you can connect to your, what's it called, like your guttering. So
Right.
it collects water when it rains, and then you can repurpose that.
Is that a
And
Leeds?
plants, go on.
Is that a Leeds phrase?
A water butt? I think it's a
Yeah.
universal phrase, Fry, I'm
Right.
going to say.
Okay.
Yeah, But this is why I'm here, to educate on water
Yeah,
butts.
I actually knew the answer. It was Cara that was texting me privately, asking
Oh,
what it
did
was.
you?
Yeah,
Sure. I
just didn't
believe you.
want
I believe you.
yeah, thank you.
But yeah, water butts. But you don't have to get a water butt. You could literally just use buckets. I do this, and I put like a little mesh over the top so mosquitoes can't like lay their babies in there. And I use wine bottles to put in the water so they fill up by themselves. And then in my plants, I get the wine bottle, I tip it upside down, and then it gradually filters into the soil, which is quite nice because glass is far better than using the likes of like obviously tin and plastic. So yeah, wine bottles, save them, use them for the garden. They work really, really nicely. Plant-based foods. I was going to touch on this. This would have been in the top 5, but I knew Max was coming on and talking about that, so I thought I won't spend any more time talking about plant-based foods. We know the benefits of that. And then yeah, reuse and repurpose. These is even bigger than recycling. If you can avoid buying something new and trying to fix it, then, and you don't have to be an expert, needle and thread to fix something that's torn or something. It's easily done, and also gives it a little bit more character, I find. And you're buying secondhand as well. If we can repurpose something that already exists rather than buying new, it has a big impact. Okay, so flying through those, and then we'll go through the top 5. So mindful consumerism, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of these big businesses rely on consumers. If we decide that we're going to no longer support a brand, we're going to boycott it, then they'll have to change tact. There's a lot going on. I don't know if you saw, I've always been a big believer and a fan of Patagonia. And there's a lawsuit currently going on with a drag artist, Patagonia. I don't know if anyone's seen this. And it's kind of tainted the brand a little bit. And there's been a couple of years ago, they were almost thanked by the public for selling the company and giving it to the earth. And then there's been some releasing information about how really they're still in control. So the more you learn about a company, the more you realize that ethics are in a different place. And I think a lot of people thought that was a standout brand for the environment. And you dig a bit deeper, and this all goes down to like credible sources and really looking into something before you purchase. So mindful consumerism. So there's a fantastic website called Good On You that you can look at and type in a company and see, how good it is in terms of ethical rating. Another one is the Good Shopping Guide. This is like a big ethical brand directory. The Good On You one's more to do with, I think they do cosmetics as well, but mostly clothing. But the Good Shopping Guide is to do primarily on brands, and it's a lot more diverse. So yeah, you go on the Good Shopping Guide, type in a brand, and it'll give you an ethical score, and you can then make better judgment when you're deciding to purchase from brands. And this also supports people as well, in terms of the people who are making those clothes and what you're supporting, whether they test on animals, all of that is involved in that report. Has anyone heard of these apps called Too Good To Go and Olio? I can only see like 5 people on my screen, so I don't know if anybody else is like putting up their hand and stuff. But these are really, really good brands. There's an app, Too Good To Go. This is where you can look at apps, stores even near you, like, I don't know, Greg's or Asda or whatever it might be, and they'll have some surplus food that they're going to be giving away that you can go and pick up like a goodie bag. So they can get like 20 items for like 10 quid from Greg's or something like that you can then share with your family and friends or consume over a certain amount of time. A lot of people get them and then freeze them. So it's just a way to not waste food. Oleo's another great one. This works a bit differently. So supermarkets will say, hey, we've got some stuff that's surplus. My friend did it very recently and got like loads of bread. And they then put on Olio, hey, I've got all this bread. And then people say, yeah, I'll take some bread. And then we share it. It's like it feels like a little community of people on the app that are trying to reduce food waste. Because food waste is a big one. We waste nearly 10 million tons of food in the UK every single year, which seems absolutely daft when we've got people who can't feed their kids. So if we can share this, then it makes a big impact. And yeah, Fry, feel free to jump in. I get excited and talk very fast, so you'll have to be quick to get in there.
No, it's good. It's good. Just taking it all in. So yeah, keep going. Yeah.
So feel free to make a note on them. Good On You, Good Shopping Guide, Too Good To Go, and Olio. They're really, really good ones. And you do have a lot of control as a consumer when we share information. And if you're out talking to a friend and they're they're wearing a certain brand, and you've got to be mindful of this stuff because they may have purchased it secondhand. And I'm aware of this because I don't really buy new clothes. I tend to go secondhand because the quality seems to be better. But I don't buy many new clothes unless there's a specific item that I need. But just having those conversations with friends about, hey, did you know this? Did you know that? And raising awareness, sharing credible information on the likes of social media. Move your money. So there is a website called bank.green where you can input the bank that you bank with. And especially if you've got a mortgage, this one's really interesting because who you bank with, they obviously use your money to invest in various different things. If you input your bank on here, you'll find out what they're investing in and whether that's the likes of fossil fuels or renewables. So this is a big one because this is millions of pounds worth of money that they're using to put into stuff that maybe you don't believe in and don't even know that they're investing in. So yeah, this is a big one. Bank.green, input your bank into there, find out what they're investing in and decide to switch. And if you do decide to switch, this is the big one, tell them why. Say, I've switched because I've realized you invest my money into fossil fuels and I'm going to be switching to a greener bank. If they get loads of customers saying, okay, so something's happened. There's been a big tipping point here. And especially if we create a movement where we're sharing this information, it becomes like almost a petition where there's this nationwide or international thing about people understanding where their banks and where they're banking with and who they're investing in. And we've just lost hundreds of thousands of customers. And this is why they might think, maybe we should stop investing in fossil fuels. It can have a big impact. That's a big one, bank.green. There might be something that you're accidentally investing in. I'm flying through this, right? Feel free to interject at any point.
No, it's all good. The banking one's a really, really interesting one. I actually noticed because we had to pay B Corp some money recently, and I noticed their bank was actually owned by someone else who's a bit dubious. I think it was NatWest or HSBC or something like that. I was quite surprised that that's the bank that the B Corp were dealing with. But yeah, it was a new thing for us that I only found out a few years ago. So we
If you don't know, you don't know. It's a funny one. So I'm currently switching from NatWest for this exact reason. And I've given NatWest an example because when I was first telling people about this about maybe like 3 years ago, NatWest was poor and I was due to switch, and then they made some changes in their business and they actually scored quite high. And I was like, okay, I can stay with NatWest. And then I did it again recently and they've dropped back down again. So now I'm like, okay, now's the time to switch. So if you don't know, you don't know, right? It's like with anything.
So they call them ethical banks, is that right? People like Starling and is Monzo one?
Monzo. A lot of the ones that haven't got high street. I mean, Nationwide, for example, Nationwide's a great one. If you're banking with Nationwide, they've just been like historically great. They look after their customers, and ethics wise and environmental wise, they're funding all the right things. So if you bank with Nationwide, win-win. But there's big ones that, and it's tough really, isn't it? Because if you're trying to get a mortgage, and some lenders, it's hard sometimes to convince some lenders that are doing the right things, and it's often the ones that aren't doing the great things are like, yeah, we'll lend you some money. So it's that accessibility thing again, isn't it, that you have to kind of barter with. But if you're in a position to.
Because Keith was asking a question as well about setting up an account, because sometimes with these more ethical banks, it is harder to get business accounts. We've found that because we were with Starling for a long time, who were great, but then because one of us lives overseas, they basically said they have to close down the account, and it was really difficult for us to find someone else. So, Keith, to answer your question, it is a hard one, and we've not been able to do it. I'm not sure who we use now. Sorry to interrupt you there. I always feel like composting is your specialist subject, Kerry. That's what I always associate you with. Is that right, or is that just what I've seen you doing?
I've accidentally become a bit of an expert. It wasn't a plan, but I am obsessed with it now. So this composting is actually the reason why Positively Green got as big as it did. The third video that I posted on social media back in 2022 got
Yeah.
3.7 million views. It was about composting and it went worldwide. And it was just, and I'd never experienced this virality before. And I was like, this is mad. Like, so many people are interested in composting, and thousands of people have messaged me over the years saying, I now compost because of your videos, which feels great, you know, and sometimes, because like, honestly, social media, I don't really like it, even though it's my job, because it has pros and it has cons. And if I could spend less time on social media, I definitely would, and I have to have breaks because of it. But it is a fantastic tool, and you have to almost detach from it. And especially you guys who are working in salons and in businesses, you have to think of it like that, because I understand you're running a business and it's another thing you have to do, right? You have to make videos, you have to make content, but it's a tool that will have a result in something else, whether that's more customers, raising awareness. You know, the reason I use an eco salon here in Leeds is because of the ethics behind that, you know. So Masters of Craft, shout out to Heather, she'll be on this call, I think. So I've moved around a bit, and I was in another eco salon up in Darlington before I moved back to Leeds, and I'm always using them because it's value based for me. I want to put my money, invest my money into something that is doing good, and that's why I always look for salons that are part of Green Salon Collective. So anyway, composting, it's great. It's a fantastic way to reduce waste. I achieve zero food waste in my household because of composting, and there's different methods to be able to achieve that. I could talk about this all day, so I'm gonna have to speed through it. But one of the biggest things is reducing your methane footprint, which you might not be aware of. So composting is this fantastic process. It's science where you have microbes that are decomposing or composting your food waste, cardboard, whatever it might be. Now, in order for that to work, it has to have oxygen. So when your food waste instead goes to landfill or wherever it might go, whether it's going to be incinerated, it begins to rot. And the reason why it rots is because there's no oxygen there. So it goes anaerobic, whereas composting is aerobic, and these microbes need oxygen to be able to do it. So when you compost, you're basically reducing your methane footprint, which is really, really cool. And methane is 25 times stronger than carbon dioxide. And what I mean by that is that it has a stronger capacity to trap heat in the atmosphere. So reducing that is massive. So I mentioned earlier, 10 million tons of food wasted in the UK annually. Now, the councils announced last year that they're going to be implementing food waste bins in across the UK. Some councils have already got this in effect. Some of them have not. Leeds, for example, where I'm based, and a lot of Yorkshire, it's not happened yet, and that's due to councils not getting their submissions in on time. So unfortunately, we could have up until 2040 till it comes to Leeds. So there's a website you can go and check to see, I can't remember the name of it now, when you're going to get food waste. But for me, I don't really want to give my food waste to councils. I would rather put that in my compost bin and turn it into compost that I can then use in my garden. Because what a lot of people might not know is when you put stuff in your green bin, it gets taken to the compost, gets taken by the recycling council. They'll then turn that into compost, and some of them use them in community spaces, like you'll see them on roundabouts and things like that. But often they sell them to garden centres, so then you're buying back compost that you've then given your food to, which is like I think it's crazy that. Why would you not want to reuse it yourself? So yeah, composting, fantastic thing, and you can do it anywhere. If you've got a garden, if you haven't got a garden, composting is accessible to everybody. There's lots of different methods you can use. You can have a compost bin in your garden. It's called cold composting. And it's not as high maintenance as people might think. You can literally add materials, turn it every now and again, forget about the whole pH thing, add various different materials. I've got loads of tutorials on my channel, and I've just filmed over the weekend a YouTube video which shows you exactly how to start a compost bin, which will be released in a couple of weeks. That takes you from A to B, how to start a compost bin and how to get the final product. But you can also compost in your apartment on a balcony, and you can do something called bokashi composting, which is actually a fermentation process which is bonkers. And with bokashi composting, I'm going at super speed now because I get so excited about composting. Because bokashi composting is something where you can compost everything. So the standard composting that you think of in the garden, where they have those like Dalek bins, right? You have to use organic materials in that. So your veg peelings, bit of cardboard, paper, coffee grounds, that can all go in. And what I mean by organic is all you got to think of, was it once alive? Was it once a tree? Was it a piece of fruit that grew? You know, was it alive at one point? Bokashi composting, this Japanese method where you ferment food waste, does everything. So if you eat meat and you've got chicken bones, or you've used your what they called those air fryers, right? And you've got like oil at the bottom, you can put your oil in, you can put your little bits in the sink, in the sink where you get like those food catchers and all your food gets caught, and then you sit that in the bin. That can go in everything, and then you sprinkle some bokashi bran on it, and it ferments it, and then after 4 weeks you can then put that in the ground in your composter. And then there's wormeries as well. So you can get a wormery that's in your house or outdoors, and it's only about this big, and that'll compost your food. There's the countertop composters. It's a fantastic way to reduce waste, and I could talk about it forever. So if you've got any questions, feel free to message me on social media, and I'll get back to you about that. But it's really accessible. It's not complex. People get intimidated by the process, but anyone can do it. And I was not an expert, and I'm still not an expert. And I say that whenever I do a workshop on composting, I say, just so you know, I'm not an expert, and I'm saying that because it is accessible and you can learn as you go. It's really simple. Anything else on here? Yeah, so benefits include increasing nutrients. So you're obviously saving waste and repurposing your waste, but you also get a finished product that you can then use on your house plants. Whether that's in your salon, in your home, and you can compost in your salon. I gave a wormery to my previous hairdressers up in Darlington, and they've got a wormery there. Heather here in Leeds, I was talking about a wormery. She's like, "Oh yeah, I might fancy doing a wormery." Is she on this call? I'm sure she is. I don't know if she's got a wormery yet.
Yeah, she is.
Have you got your wormery yet, Heather?
No, I'm still taking my compost to my mum's house, but I'm going to get one. Just trying to work out how big I need.
I think, yes, a standard size, because wormeries go faster than the cold composters. So you could add it gradually, and then you could maybe just see how you go. And if you need to get a second one, you get a second one. And you don't even need to buy them. You can make them yourself. Bokashi bins, all you need is 2 buckets. And it's the same with a wormery. And I've got tutorials on my channel of how to make your own. So it can be really cost effective. And a great way you basically get this nutrient-rich product that you then go to like feed your soil. The soil in my back garden is awful. It's awful. It's dry. I can't grow anything in it. I've added compost to it, and it's just come alive. It's incredible. Do you know, in a handful of soil, there is more life than all the humans in Earth. In one handful, there is more life in that because of the microbes and insects. It's incredible.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yes, soil is amazing. Right, what else have I got on here? Yeah, it reduces the need for fertilizers. So, pesticides and fertilizers and things like that. It feeds your food. I use it as a topper, add it to my house plants, and you literally see them transform over days when you give them some compost feed. Okay, number 4. Yeah, create change in your circle. I think this is maybe an underrated one, but trust is huge. If your friend gives you a recommendation on something, you're more likely to trust that than someone who you don't know. And I think whoever we decide to hang around with has an influence on our own habits. So if you've changed maybe your lifestyle, like I've been plant-based all my life. I used to be a meat eater, then I went pescatarian, then I went vegetarian, and now I'm vegan. And that was a really, slow process while I kind of learned how to navigate that. And a lot of that was to do with the people who I hung around with. When I started to find my circle and got influenced by the people who were doing and realized why and how it would benefit me, it then has that influence. So, don't be afraid to have these conversations with people in an informative way. And when we're sharing stuff on social media, which is big, make sure it's credible. It's hard in this day and age. There's so much AI generated content, and we don't know if something is accurate. So, check it before you share it. But also sharing to our platforms is really, really useful for sparking change. And try and stay like solutions based. I think talking about problems is really important, and highlighting things that are happening that are not great is good, but what are the solutions to that? And let's try and this is the whole sort of ethics and values behind Positively Green, is that I wanted to create a channel that didn't just make people feel bad about the situation they're in, that to inspire behavior change and inspire people to take action. So try and think about what those solutions could be, and have conversations about that. And it can be a challenge. I'm constantly speaking to my family members about stuff that they could change, and I've only just now got them to start composting, and it took a long time to get them to do that. So, you know, it does take time, and you know, you got to kind of weigh up whether it's worth that investment.
Yeah.
Yeah, encourage friends and family to part, and highlight positive environmental stories, because I think sometimes it can feel a bit negative. And this is the sad world that we live in, is that negative news travels faster than positive news. So which it wasn't like that, but it does. That's the kind of the society that we're in. So we have to battle that by, you know, counterweighting it and putting out that positive news as much as we possibly can, and encouraging people to still do and take action and not feel insignificant. Yeah, behavior change spreads through social networks. Yeah, so I think coming together collectively, and I strongly believe in that. That when especially communities come together. Go on, Fry.
I was just
What
coughing.
you gonna say, Smith? What?
I was just coughing and spluttering.
Oh.
But I was agreeing at the same time. But Kerry, we have to. I don't like to do this, but we do have to rush you through your last one, because
That's fine. Not a problem at all. I think we're getting to it now. Yeah, I mean, yeah, vote, sign petitions, lobby, and share credible information. You know, an example of that is, you know, we got plastic straws ban that was following from a petition, a single-use vape ban that came in literally because of a petition. You know, we can come together and make these changes. So, you know, I echo this at the start about when people come together collectively, we can make big change, and I strongly believe in that. So keep pushing forward, keep working together. Community-based stuff's really, really strong in your own little circles, and you're definitely not insignificant. So keep pushing forward.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks so much, Kerry. There's so much in there. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
Can you give the host back to Jess, or Jess, can you name the host? And yeah, if anyone wants to follow along with Kerry's journey, you can do. Thanks so much, Kerry. Really appreciate it.
No problem at all.
Thank you. So we just got one last guest to get to, which is Anne Veck. We'll see. We've gone back to Sylvia's screen, by the way, Jess. Is that just me, or is it everyone?
Sorry, I don't have any control.
Interesting. Well, let's see what I can do here. So if I give it to you, Jess.
Yeah. Oh, it is letting me share my screen though, so maybe I can at least do that in the meantime. Can you guys see the new screen?
Just a black screen. For me, it says I'm. Oh, hang on.
Where are you, Jess?
How about now?
No, I can still only see black. Sam, Cara, what can you see? Can you only see black, or can you see?
Yeah, no, usually goes to this screen when it's about to load and show. There you go.
Ah, there you go.
Hopefully everybody can see.
Yeah,
yes.
I can see now.
So Anne Veck is not here. Keith, her partner, is here. If you don't know Anne Veck, she is a hairdresser on a mission to make hairdressing more sustainable, diverse, and artistic, and is a multi-award-winning hairdresser with residencies in Kelly's Hair in Oxford and Edith et Moi. Anne has recorded a short 6-minute video, I believe, Jess, and all the pressure is on Jess and her laptop on whether the video will play. And I can't hear her, Jess, but it might just be me.
Because I'm actually thrilled to...
Is that working for everyone? Can people hear? Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Right, I'll restart from the beginning and enjoy.
Thank you, Fry, for inviting me to this Sustainable Salon Summit. I can't be with you in person today because I'm actually thrilled to be here live with the brilliant team behind the organic color range Terre de Couleur. With founder Rémi Guillaumin, Nazid Saad, partner and founder, and Sylvie Prunier, the head of training. Our presence brings me straight on to the subject of change and sustainability. Change is often something we fear, especially with color. Most of us know our current chemical range by heart. We know the formula, the timing, and we can accurately predict the outcome. So moving to a completely different concept like terre de couleur can be very daunting. But the old way of doing things is no longer our only option. Conventional color is great, and we know it works. But when we think about the chemical we breathe, we put out our head, we throw down the drain, well, it's nice to have an alternative. Introducing a range like this isn't about throwing away what you know. It's simply about opening up to change and bringing true sustainability to your salon. I started this personal journey about 2 months ago. It began with an online training with Nazish to introduce me to the concept. After that, I bought a small starter kit, and just to familiarize myself with the product. And I was instantly won with the clay treatment. I did a detox on my own head. It was amazing. My hair had so much volume with really minimal effort. Then I went to Arles for an intense immersive training, and this was brilliant. The experience was amazing. We actually worked with real clients, and it's allow ourselves to see for ourselves how terre de couleur is much more than just a hair color. It's a true way of life. What blew me away about the concept is that it's not just about doing hair treatment. They call it cosmetic therapy. So they take completely natural elements like clay, earth, salt, essential oil, they mix it with this patented water, and they create 9 different treatments. And instead of just fixing the hair on the surface, it actually worked deeper to balance the scalp, relax the client, and treat issues like hair loss or itching. What I really love as a business owner is how dedicated clients are. Obviously, that comes down to educating them through a thorough hair diagnostic and an in-depth consultation. So clients do their detox treatment at home before their color service. Because the color goes hand in hand with the treatment, well, your retail sales improve straight away. In fact, we've only had the range in the salon for about a week, and it's already generated a massive interest. So I knew there was a desire for clients to move away from the chemical and look at something a little bit more holistic. But I didn't realize the extent of it. We actually sold product before we had time to put it on the shelves. We're having our official launch at the Salon on June the 25th. And within a single day of sending out an email to invite clients, we had about 20 clients already booking their space. So I know it's early days, but I'm really confident we're going to have an amazing success. For me, sustainability isn't a limitation, it's a liberation. It pushes us to be more creative, more attentive to our clients' health, and more conscious of the footprint we leave behind. Transition to a brand like this, it's a real statement. Okay, it simply says, I care about the health of my clients, the well-being of my staff, and the future of the environment. And that leads me directly to the next things I want to share with you all. With a group of hairdressers, we have founded a collective called Net Zero. Our goal is to educate hairdressers right at the beginning of their career on sustainability. We want sustainable practice to become the absolute norm in the salon environment, especially because the next generation of staff and clients are demanding it. Here is how we make it happen. We're hosting series of educational webinars. We're visiting colleges to speak with students directly, and staying true to our creative roots, we are performing live on stage at HairCon in Manchester on Monday the 15th of June. So don't miss it. Come out and support us. We are using Go Collab as our main platform to host everything. Head over there to check out all the info we've uploaded so far, like our free salon resource toolkit. Finally, massive thank you to you, Fry, and the summit to allow me to share my thoughts with my fellow hairdresser and to give me a voice. And one last thing, scan the QR code that's going to pop up so you can join Collab and Net Zero. Bye.
Bye, Anne. Au revoir. So yeah, that was really really interesting, really insightful from Anne, but also not a massive surprise to us at Green Salon, because when we discovered TDC probably over a year ago now, we thought that it would be something that would be great to be here in the UK. So we've helped Naz to bring it to the UK, and you hear us talking about it a lot on our socials. And as Anne said, what we found quite interesting about it is the health side of things. So even your most natural colors that you use, they still have traditional synthetic chemicals in them. You just need to look at the tube ingredients on the back to see that. Whereas with TDC, it's 100% organic plant material in its color. So if you'd like to learn more about TDC, you're welcome to contact Naz. She's still on her French number, which is why it's +33 and not 44. Or you can go to earthhairpro.com. We are going to wrap up now. Just one last thing on the Identity House, who couldn't be here today. So Eva is the co-founder of the Identity House and the Conscious Cut, which is helping turn hair from Green Salon Collective members into hair pieces, together helping us tackle waste, but also helping us with the transparency and exploitation in the hair industry, one strand at a time. It's a nice little pun there, whoever wrote that. So Identity House are just going through some structural changes in terms of the ownership. So Eva's not going to be joining us for this call, but Eva will definitely be on up and coming ones once those structures have changed and have been in place. So we will continue to support her, just not today. So we've gone slightly over 11 minutes. It's 11:11. Perfect time to end this, and thank you so much for everyone who come along. If there's any questions that we've missed in the chat, we'll try and get back to you privately. If any of our green libertines are able to stay on, I'd love to say hello to you. And yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you Salon IQ. Thank you Max. Thank you Kerry. Thank you Anne. Thank you Eva. Thank you Sam. Thank you Cara. Thank you Jess. Thank you Fry.
Thank you, Fry.